Convicted in 1995, Georgia resident Brian Terrell was put on death row for a crime he did not commit. On December 9, 2015, he was killed by lethal injection. His final words were, "Didn't do it." The innocent man's life was taken without any remorse. The criminal justice system is supposed to protect American citizens from harm, but for many men and women, the criminal justice system is the one threatening them. Taking the lives of any human is unethical and wrong. Today I'll share the background information, the ineffectiveness, the expense, and the immorality of capital punishment. For over 140 years, arguments have been brought to the highest courts in America to review the constitutionality of various aspects of capital punishment. The 8th and the 14th Amendments are the basis of most arguments of the legality of state executions. The pertinent part of the 8th Amendment is the cruel and unusual punishment clause, while the 14th Amendment ensures the Americans will receive equal protection under the law. Capital punishment is currently authorized in 29 states by the federal government and the U.S. military. The remaining 21 states, along with the District of Columbia, have banned the practice and have found lethal punishment a violation of state constitutions. While lethal injection is the primary method most executions are conducted, there are secondary legal methods of execution in America, such as electrocution, lethal gas, hanging, nitrogen hypoxia, and firing squads. There have been approximately 15,832 legal executions carried out on American citizens since the 1700s. There have been 20 executions carried out by individual states or the federal government, with 4 scheduled by the end of this year. The death penalty is an effective form of punishment due to evidence proving it does not deter crime. John Lepardi, professor at Dartmouth University, states the trends of the homicide death rates of comparable states with or without the death penalty are similar. Why take a human's life when time in prison is shown to be just as effective? Lepardi also states this is the inevitable conclusion is that executions have no discernible effect on homicide death rates, as we have seen are regarded as adequate indicators of capital murder rates. According to a study at the University of Colorado, 88% of the nation's leading criminologists do not believe the death penalty is an effective deterrent to crime. In his opinion, Furman v. Georgia Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall presents his argument about the idea of capital punishment as a superior deterrent to life imprisonment. He states statistics also show that the deterrent effect of capital punishment is no greater in those communities where executions take place than in other communities. In fact, there is evidence that show capital punishment actually encourage crime rather than deter it. And while police and law enforcement officers are the strongest advocates of capital punishment, the evidence is overwhelming that police are no safer in communities that have abolished it. Some would argue that sentencing someone to life imprisonment is substantially more expensive than capital punishment. The average cost to maintain a prisoner for life is $30,000. The average cost of trial for a capital court case is $1.26 million. The cost difference is so substantial between the two that the future cost of maintaining prisoners in life is less substantial than trying a $1.25 million capital case. How can the United States government put a price tag on a human's life? More importantly, how can we put a price tag on our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our fathers, our sons and daughters? It has to be understood when people are making judgments and decisions, there will be error. The data for the 34 cases in the NRA database show that wrongful capital prosecutions involve more than mere errors. Every one of these cases involves some combination of official misconduct, perjury, or false accusation, or false or misleading forensic evidence. And more than 3/4 involved at least 2 of these factors. When unethical misconduct and human error are combined, there's too high a chance that an innocent person could be put to death. Americans' belief in America's belief in protection of innocence is long held. Benjamin Franklin stated, "It is better 100 guilty persons should escape than one innocent person should suffer." When a person is put to death based on human judgment, the risk an innocent person would suffer the ultimate price. The NRA exoneration data reveals at least 13 exonerations that involve the wrongful use of the death penalty, meaning that the state took 13 lives. Making human errors when stakes are so high is not tolerable. Removing capital punishment is the only reasonable answer, knowing the potential outcome of a person's mistake. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are inalienable rights promised for all American citizens by practicing capital punishment. The criminal justice system is taking away the right to live. The common understanding of which is moral is relating to principles of right and wrong behavior. State-sponsored execution is an immoral act. Justice Thurgood Marshall states, "Death is irrevocable. Life imprisonment is not. Death, of course, makes rehabilitation impossible. Life imprisonment does not." In short, death has always been viewed as an ultimate sanction and seems perfectly reasonable to continue to view it as such. Taking away a person's life does not provide justice. Justice is meant to make right or wrong. The punishment of death does not make right or wrong. It does not bring back the victim, but it creates a new victim. The death penalty is an act of revenge and hypocrisy. Killing a person because they killed someone does not provide justice. This begs the question, why execute? Is capital punishment an act of justice or revenge? Is a violent act of revenge ever moral? For these reasons, capital punishment is unjust and should be abolished. It is proven to be ineffective. It is not a deterrent for crime. Therefore, it is not an effective punishment. Capital punishment is more expensive than life imprisonment. Finally, it is immoral through human mistakes and violation of basic human rights. As American citizens, we have been given the right to make our voices heard. If you too believe that capital punishment is immoral and ineffective, use your voice through voting, writing your state representatives, or staging protests to demand change within your state. It's not the government's job to choose who lives and who dies, but it is our job to speak for what is morally right.